All right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Josh Garrison. It's a little bit before the top of the hour. We're going to get started. What's up, Cameron? We're going to get started in a couple minutes. But while we are getting all of our ducks in a row, we got a little icebreaker for you. And some of you are already in the chat. We're going to do this in the chat. I want to know, and this is live, y'all. We're not pre-recorded. I want to know what's the biggest issue you're facing when it comes to finding leads. So drop it in the chat. That might give me an opportunity to address some of those problems specifically. But we've got a lot we're going to cover today. I'm really excited to get into it. Phone numbers, Ivan. Yes. Verified emails. Yeah, I feel that. 74 employee leads, they don't populate. Dig into that a little bit. Let's see. Oh, I'm having fun with this. Hello, Mark. Hello from the Rockies. I try and stay west of the Rocky Mountains myself. Anything that happens east of that, that's not my problem, right? Okay. Trying to coordinate with Sales Nav. That's actually going to be something that, Craig, we're going to run a webinar later in the month or maybe the beginning of April. We're going to talk about engagement overall, but including LinkedIn. Recommend registering for that when you see that come up. Okay, so we're going to give people a couple of minutes to filter in. If you're new, you just joined us, hop into the chat, tell us where you're from, and we've got this icebreaker question going. What's the biggest issue you're facing when it comes to finding leads? If you guys see me looking off to the left, it's because I have two monitors, and I can only see the chat if I look to the left. So it's not just because I want you to see me in profile view, though, of course, maybe this is my good side. Okay, what do we have here? We got some folks in from Argentina, from Paris, from Paris, I think is maybe the better way to say that. Any integrations for Zoho CRM? I'm going to let Radu and Zir answer those questions. So, okay, we're T minus 1 minute. Radu, yeah, you got an answer for that?
I'll take any answer. I mean, any questions they have, over the chat. That's fine.
Cool. And that's what I was about to say. So we are live. This is not pre-recorded. We have myself. I'll introduce myself in a second. We have two other folks from the Apollo team here to answer your questions. Drop your questions in the question box. In the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there's a little question tab. It's just impossible for us to keep up with the chat, but we'll try and get to the questions that we can in the question box. We'll give about 30 more seconds before we get started. Yes, you will get a recording of this. Okay, so if you have to leave, I will be offended, but we'll still email you the recording and you'll be able to watch it at your leisure. Hi from Sweden, Emil. Is that how you say it? Welcome. It's evening for you. All right, y'all, let's get this show on the road. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, buckle up. Let's do it. So, if I can get this slide to work. Okay, we're going to run through several things today. We're going to talk through some housekeeping. I'll talk about myself, one of my favorite things to do. And then we're going to get into the meat of it. We're going to get out of a slide deck. We're going to get into Apollo. I'm going to show you 5 ways to find better leads. And then we're going to hop into one of my favorite topics, sales automation. I'm actually going to show you how to automate your prospecting overall. Special bonus for you guys who are here today. We have 2 brand new betas that I'm going to show you and you'll have the opportunity to sign up for. And then we're going to leave plenty of time for Q&A at the end. Let's get down to business. Okay, you know why we're here, trying to find better leads and remove the manual work involved in prospecting. I want to talk a little bit about the why. Oh, I didn't talk at all about myself. Okay, about me. Well, where is that? Here we go. Okay, got my slides mixed up. That's all right. Like I said, we're live. So I'm Josh Garrison, y'all. I am the head of content marketing here at Apollo. And I know you're probably like, why is a marketing guy talking to me about leads? They're the one who sends me the bad leads. Well, I'm also a recovering sales leader. I was early on in the game of sales engagement back in 2013, beta user of tools like Outreach and SalesLoft. And I've been a sales guy for most of my career. So now at Apollo, I get to write about sales, about outbound, about sales automation. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can just come to these webinars. I'll probably be in more of them. A couple things. One thing I'd like to share, and I wish I had this webinar. Years ago, I started my own company, and I had almost no money to get started. So I got a free trial of one of Apollo's competitors. It rhymes with Boom Info. and I manually copied and pasted 2,000 leads from that into a spreadsheet. Those are the people I outbounded, closed a couple hundred G's of revenue in the first few months, and I got off to the races. I wish that I could get that time back and just use Apollo to do it. But you guys will learn from my mistakes. I want to talk a little bit about the why before we actually get into Apollo. So, of course, outbound success depends on lead quality. I don't think that's going to be something that's too controversial for any of you here. But I really want to dive into the math behind this. When you look at the lead funnel, because your lead data is at the top of your funnel, a small impact on the quality of the data here is going to have a big impact in the output at the bottom of the funnel. And I actually have a slide where I break down what that looks like. So let's say you have 1,000 leads you find in Apollo, but only 70% of them are verified. Your SDRs, or if you are the SDR, you're going to work all 1,000 of those leads, but 300 of those is wasted time and effort, right? So only 700, let's say you're doing a cold call campaign, only 700 dials go through. If you connect at 30% rate because you're really good, only 210 conversations are held. If you book 20% of meetings because your elevator pitch is so money, you're going to have 42 meetings held, and closing at 30% rate, you'll close 12 deals. So this is where I take issue with something we hear in sales a lot. People say sales is a numbers game. It's not. It's a math game. Because if you're able to make a 10% impact in the verified rate of your leads at the top of that funnel, you're going to have a 16% impact in the number of deals that you close because of the way that funnel is structured. So you're still working 1,000 leads, but you're getting more connects, more conversations, more meetings, and more deals out the other end. And that's just with a 10% increase from 70 to 80. We're going to cover a bunch of different ways. Hopefully, we're going to try and get that number even higher. So obviously, you want to work better leads to improve your funnel, right? But how? Well, I talked already about verification. We're going to go into detail about that. Another thing I think doesn't get enough play is timing and hitting people at the right time. And I want to show you just the way I think about this. So you've got 100 perfect leads. Here they are. At any given time, only 2% of those people are actually looking for what you're selling. And in my career, this has held true. And it may not be 2%. Let's call it between 1 and 5%. Now, you can spend all of your time, energy, and effort turning somebody who's a no into a yes, or somebody who's not interested at all in what you have into somebody who's maybe interested. That's not going to yield you the kind of results that you want. Instead, what you should be trying to do is change the percentage or change the composition of your outbound list from, random people of which 2% are going to be looking to more than that, more of that 2%. And the key thing to keep in mind here is that who those 2% of people who are looking for your solution are, they change over time because the buying cycle goes through its entire process. So the 2% of people looking for what you have in January are totally different from the 2% of people looking for what you have in March or in June or in August. So the name of the game at any given time is to increase the proportion of those interested people into your outbound cadence, and therefore make a lot more money. It sounds, it makes sense logically. It's a lot harder to execute in practice, but I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. So we're going to hop into Apollo, and this is live, y'all. So bear with me. I didn't prepare, too much because I want you guys to see exactly how to do this in your Apollo instance. If you're not an Apollo user, recommend you sign up. We're going to run a couple polls where we'll give you the opportunity to do that. So this is my home screen here in Apollo. I'm going to show you, we're just going to go over here. We're going to go into search, and we're going to talk about the 5 ways to find better leads. And I'm going to throw you some bonuses. We might actually talk about 6 or 7. So a couple things here. First of all, you're probably operating a lot out of this left-hand bar. And I just want to touch really briefly on a couple ways to save yourself some time if you come and spend a lot of time prospecting, as I'm sure you do. If you haven't used personas in Apollo before, I highly recommend it. What a persona is basically a way for you to come in here, and I just clicked on Manage Personas, New Persona, and you'll see what I'm able to do here. I can define, say I want to make a list of people who meet certain criteria that I can quickly reference later on. So if I wanted, for example, to make a list of founders, I say I know I'm selling to founders often. I'm going to create this persona of founders, in a certain industry or whatever, founders in the accounting industry, let's say. Okay, I've got 7 of them. I can save this persona. And then if I want to come in here and use some other filters later, I can just quickly reference that one persona and then add other filters on top of it, like location and number of employees or whatever. That doesn't count as one of the 5 ways to find better leads. Don't feel like you're getting shortchanged here. I'm going to show you the real deal. So first thing, if you're working out of this sidebar here, you're causing yourself probably some unnecessary frustration. Come down here to the bottom left, hit this more filters button. That's going to show you all the filters available in Apollo. So that's tip number 0. That doesn't count either. All right, you're going to see that we have over 250 million records in Apollo. I want to talk about a couple things here. So this is a living, breathing database. We are constantly updating who's in Apollo. Every month, 60 million records get updated and 2 million records get added. So if we talk about finding better leads, one of the best things you can do is to come down to this miscellaneous section and start off with this filter, date refreshed in Apollo. And what you can do is you can set a time frame or you can set a date range here. And I recommend you do. Now, if you haven't seen this filter before, I wouldn't be super surprised because it is relatively new. I think we added this somewhere in late last year, maybe October or November. So come down here, date refresh in Apollo. You can see, if I just select the people who were added between the first of the year and today, that's going to bring me down from 250 million to 35 million. So remember what we talked about at the start of this. Sales is not a numbers game, it's a math game. I want to disqualify people as quickly as possible. I want to only work good leads, right? So getting a smaller number here is better because you can do higher quality outreach to a more targeted and refined list of people. So I'd recommend you play with this filter a little bit, but if you really want to be, making sure you're only working people as they get refreshed with the most up-to-date data, be aggressive. Only work people updated in the last 30 days, 60 days, whatever you want to do here. That's the first filter, okay? So I said, I'm going to show you 5 ways to find better leads. Here's number 1. I know a lot of you people went in here and asked for, you said you're having trouble with verified lead information, accurate lead information. This is one way to improve that. The second way is this filter just to the left, email status. So I want to talk through this a little bit. So verified, this means we're pretty sure that this is their email. And you can, if you want to really be, a stickler for quality and verification, only look for verified emails right here. You can see we went from 35 million, just a little bit under 13 million by adding that one filter. If you find yourself hurting for leads, you can add this guess filter here, but I'd recommend you keep that confidence level above 85%. And the way we arrive at a guess is we basically look at the pattern for a given domain name. So, at Apollo, first name dot last name at apollo.io, that's a pretty well established pattern. We'll try and apply that pattern to the person that you're trying to reach out to. And the more data we have, the higher confidence level we have. So you can play with that filter a little bit. But so I promise you 5 filters. I've given you 2, date refresh in Apollo and email status. Okay, the next thing I want to show you, this one actually took me a while to figure out. So when we talk about timing, if we think through when is somebody most likely to make a buying decision, to me, it's typically when they're pretty new in the role. Maybe not in their first month at a new job, right? Or their second month, but by the 3rd month, the 4th month, they've been established. They've kind of got their head around what's going on at the company they're at. And now they have to prove themselves. And they have to make sure that this company knows that they were worth hiring. And one of the ways that they do that is rip out whatever was there before and put in new stuff. This is a great opportunity for you as a seller to hit people at a good time in their buying decision-making process. So the way this years and current role filter works is actually interesting. If I put 0 to 1, you might think intuitively that this is only going to find people who are in their first year at the role. But you'll see that that's not the case. This can be the number 2 here. How this filter works is it's going to take people who are in their role up to the next whole number. So anyone in this case from just started role to 2 years. So if I run 0 to 1, wanting people who are brand new in their role, I'm going to get people who've been in their job up to 1 year and 11 months. What I'm going to recommend is go 0, 0. And that is actually going to show you only people who are in their first year at their current job. Carly, yes, recap notes will be provided. You'll get also a recording of this. Saw that question in the chat. So years in current role, this is huge, y'all. I highly recommend you consider this, especially when you're trying to break into a new account, you're establishing a relationship with somebody for the first time. There's a lot of personalization you can do just based on this one filter. So you can come in, you can go to this filter and you can just say, hey, hit me people who are new in the job. And that's going to significantly narrow down your list, but it's also going to give you people who are more likely to be buying. Okay, another thing I want to show you. So let's talk about something, y'all. We've all done it. You get a job at a small company. Maybe you're the only salesperson. Maybe you're the only marketer. And what's your title? It's not salesperson. It's director of sales, right? It's VP of sales. It's VP of marketing. Those may be the leads you're after, but if you're targeting buying personas of people who are in management roles or leadership positions, that's probably not who you really want. This total years of experience filter, this is new as well. This was added last year. Years in current role, this is also brand new. I forgot to mention that. This was added in like December. Total years of experience, this was added a couple months ago as well. This is pretty straightforward, but it does, I think, the same logic apply here in terms of 0 to 1 is going to give you 2 years, right? So I'd recommend this in terms of narrowing in on the right persona. So if I'm looking for, like, this happens a lot. If you're a SDR selling to SDRs, right? You might have business development as a title that you're going after. Business development can mean many things to many people. It can mean you make strategic partnerships at the highest level. It could mean that you're cold calling all day trying to set meetings for an AE. One way to narrow down within that persona is to say, hey, I'm after that strategic biz dev person. I'm going to go 5 to 8, whatever the case may be, right? So you can see already, we started at 250 million. I haven't even added any titles or anything. I've just been trying to go off of date refresh, the quality of the data, how long they've been in their job, number of years of experience that somebody has. I'm already down to 500K. So now I'm going to go ahead and we'll add some filters that don't count towards the 5 that you know. I'll just narrow this down a little further to make this as real of an example as I can. We're going to say VP of marketing. So let's say I'm selling into VPs of marketing and I own a staffing agency or a recruiting agency. I'm just going to make that up because I think some of you all do that here. The next 2 filters I'm going to show you, which are going to get us to the 5 ways to find better leads, are headcount growth. This is new as well. Okay, so headcount growth. What this is looking at, we're looking at the total number of people who work at a company or at a given department at that company. And we're going to show you, and we're going to quantify how has that headcount changed over time. So you can use this filter, y'all, in 2 different directions, right? If a company is growing or an organization is growing, obviously that's an indicator that, you know, things are ramping up. They're hiring people, they're probably spending more, they probably need help. Or if a company is getting smaller and shrinking, they just lost headcount, they just lost bodies and resources. So no matter what you're selling, you should be able to use this headcount growth filter to push people into a sequence or into emails or messaging that uses this filter, right? And we're going to talk a lot about personalization in future webinars. You guys know how important personalization is when you're reaching out. These filters like this, how long you've been in your role, you can personalize based on that one filter. You can personalize based on headcount growth. Hey, Bob, I saw that your team is growing. Really excited about what you all are doing. Would love to chat, something like that. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to say, I want somebody who's grown 10 to 30% in the last 6 months. That's going to bring me all the way down to 22 records. Now, maybe that's too small for my list, right? So maybe I want to go back and remove the years of experience filter or something else. But I'm going to show you the last filter that's new, that's going to help you guys find better leads. This is buying intent. Buying intent is so powerful. I remember when buying intent first came out as a practice or as something that you could get. There were companies like Bombora that had it. I mean, they were charging $5,000 a month, $6,000 a month just to get buying intent data. This is back 2015, 2016. You guys can get this in Apollo for a song, okay? This is only available for people who pay for professional plan and above. So if you don't have access to buying intent right now, I'm going to run a poll at the end of the webinar. We'll offer you a demo. Say yes to that and you'll get access to it. But what this does, how this works, we're looking across the internet at the company level. We're basically able to track, and we use a provider for this called LeadSift, but we're able to track who at a given domain or who at a given IP address is searching for different things on Bing or on Google or different search engines. So what I mean by that is, if you have a target account, we can say with a certain degree of confidence whether or not they're looking for things in a particular area of interest. We call them intent topics. So if you're selling CRM software, we can say, hey, does that organization, are they Googling searches for new CRM software? To use the example I started with, recruiting agencies, I can filter only by companies who are interested in recruiting agencies or staffing agencies. So let's look at the filters that I've actually applied. What I'm able to do right now is I'm able to look at a new VP of marketing who's in their first year in the job at a company that's growing in the last 6 months between 10 and 30%, who has a verified email and who was refreshed in Apollo in the last month. This is insanely targeted filtering I'm able to do, where I'm able not only to increase the quality of the lead in terms of the verification of their contact information, but I'm also doing things based on timing, and timing is everything. In real estate, location is everything. In sales, timing is everything. So if I apply these filters, y'all are going to see that here we have it. Here's my 154 people, and I can do what I want to do from here. I can sequence all of them. I can add them to a list. I can export them, put them in my CRM, whatever I want to do here. So I am going to, I'll answer a question real quick. Rochelle, no, there's literally thousands of buying intent filters. Those are just 5 or 6 that were pre-populated there. If you're interested in buying intent, get a demo. Seriously, request a demo. It's awesome. We'll show you how it works exactly. Okay, so I've been going like a mile a minute, but we're not done, y'all. We're not even close to done. We're going to keep going here. So I promised you in this webinar 5 ways to find better leads and automate prospecting. So let's talk about this. There was a time in my career where I was managing an outreach. Shh, don't tell Apollo I mentioned outreach. I was managing an outreach instance for 60 sales reps, okay, across AEs, BDRs, you name it, inbound and outbound. Now, when you get to that size and scale, and even at a smaller size of scale, once you get to 5 or 6 people on your sales team, if what you're doing is coming into Apollo, building your list, using these filters, saving the search, which I'll show you how to do. If I wanted to get alerts, let's say on this search, I could say like, EPs of marketing that are growing. I could come in here, I could save the search, and I could say, my whole team can see it, and give me an email every week and tell me how many new people were added to this. You're all probably familiar with this if you're using Apollo. The thing is, that's a lot of work. Coming in here, prospecting manually, building a list, building a saved search, getting an email. Now I have thousands of emails I have to go through and figure out new people were added. That's a ton of work. And you can actually just automate this. You don't have to do this manually. You can automate this. You can automate it for yourself. You can automate it for your team. If you're a leader, a team lead, or a VP of sales, whatever, SDR manager, you can automate this for your organization. You can automate it inbound. You can automate it outbound. And I'm going to show you how to do that in Apollo. Now, I will say, if you're using multiple tools here, this is a lot harder. So if you're using Apollo and Outreach, or Apollo and HubSpot, Apollo and SalesLoft, you're going to have an intermediary party, right? You're going to have your CRM. I'm going to push data from Apollo to my CRM, to my engagement tool. That creates API calls, that creates triggers, that creates opportunities. Anytime you have data going between one tool and another, there's an opportunity for loss. That opportunity for loss is going to cost you time, and it's going to ultimately cost you money. If you have everything in one place with Apollo, and this is why I wish, way back in the day, I was on Apollo from the get-go. When you have it all in one place, it's so much easier. It's radically simple to do it. So I'll stop jawing at you. I'll show you how to do it. It's a little hidden, which is, a good thing you guys came to the webinar. So come up here, you're going to go to your settings tab. And what we're going to look at is on the left-hand side. Actually, also, before we get into that, I do want to say, before I show you what I'm about to show you, with great power comes great responsibility, y'all. So I'm going to show you literally how to automatically find your perfect leads and add them to a sequence. But if you do not have your SPF, DKIM, your domain settings, if you don't have those set up, your email deliverability is going to take a hit. If you don't have a delay between your sends set up, that's going to take a hit. You've got to go through and follow some of these rules. Lower your daily limit, lower your hourly limit, have a time in between sends. I'm going to plug our next webinar. We're going to bring 3 experts on deliverability in. We're going to talk to you guys about how to do this. So be on the lookout for the next one. We'll talk about that. I just want to shut that out so you guys can't, don't hit me up on LinkedIn and be like, I did what you showed me and now my domain was trashed. Like, fair warning. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on plays. Now this name, what's SPF and DKIM? Rochelle, come to the next webinar. We'll explain it. Okay, so plays. This used to be called Rules Engine. Okay, if you guys are familiar with other tools, they might call something similar triggers. If you're a Salesforce old head like me, Salesforce would call these workflows. But in Apollo, we call them plays. So what a play is basically a series of automations. And I'm going to show you the first of two things that are in beta. We actually, now plays is like kind of a wonkish thing, and engines and triggers and all of these it really requires some expertise. If all of this is kind of like, you're like, what is this guy talking about? We are launching a play library where out of the box, we're going to give you automations that in like 5 clicks, you can deploy for yourself or for your company. And they do things like this: ask customers for reviews, hit up your no-shows, end a sequence for outdated context, get ahead of renewals, hit companies that are scaling. The power embodied in these plays is unreal. The amount of time it can save you is crazy. Xero is going to run a poll right now where if you want to join the beta to get these plays, this play library, just say yes to that poll. And we'll add you into the beta and you'll see these. But what I'm going to show you all right now is how to set up a play to automate your prospecting. So I'm going to skip over the templates. I'm going to hit create from scratch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say like automatically hit VPs of marketing. And this is going to, the description and the plain name are pretty good here, but hits, fast growing marketing teams, hits, bear with me, VPs of fast-growing marketing teams. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to target people. You could also have this target companies if you wanted to, but we're going to target people. And the play type here is going to be batch. So I'll hover over this for a second. So a trigger performs an action based on, there's 2 types. There's batch and trigger. So trigger is if something happens, if something and by something, I mean, if a field changes, if a Salesforce field or a field in Apollo or a field in my CRM changes, then do a thing. Batch is going to be something that happens on a time basis. And for our purposes, we're going to use batch. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come down to filters. Now this should look familiar because this is what we just went through in the search settings. And if you're piecing together what I'm showing you, this should be pretty exciting. So what we're able to do is I'm able to come in here and I can replicate the exact same filters that I had set up in my search. Now, remember when I showed you personas at the top of the hour here? This is the opportunity where personas save you a lot of time. Because if I had set up my persona correctly, I don't have to go back through and add all the new filters. I can just come and choose that persona. But let's say I didn't. So I'm going to do this again. Job titles, VP of Marketing, years in current role. They're brand new. And, let's say, we want somebody who has at least 5 years of experience and their buying intent. They're looking for recruiting agencies, right? So you can see it, right? We're getting down, we're getting our record count down, which is what we want. So what else do we have? Headcount growth. We said, we wanted a company that was growing 10 to 30% the last 6 months. All right, this is looking good. Oh, did we choose a team? If we didn't, we should now. We're choosing marketing. Okay, cool. And there was something else. Date refresh on Apollo. Let's not forget. This is super important, y'all. You don't want to be hitting people who were refreshed a year ago. Wouldn't recommend it. Stay accurate, stay up to date on this. Verified emails only. Okay, so what I've done here, I've just removed myself from, I've 0 records found. My filters are too tight. So I'm going to change this here. Headcount growth. Maybe we're just looking at companies that are growing faster. I don't know why I killed that actually. All right. Got me down to 784 records. I'm sure I missed something. I'm going a mile a minute. But what I'm going to show you guys is the important piece here. I'm going to come down to action. So I've just filtered down my VPs of marketing, fast growing companies, verified email only. All right, you see it. What I can do is I can say anyone who meets that criteria, I'm going to add them to a sequence. And I can choose the sequence from here. This is incredible. I used to spend so much time going in and creating lists, pulling those lists out, adding those people to a sequence. It takes forever. If I just click activate play and save, what will happen is Apollo will go, it'll use a credit every time somebody meets this filter criteria. It will add them to that sequence automatically, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to come in and manually do this. You do have to hit activate, and then you have to hit save. I'm not going to do that because one of our Apollo sales reps is going to start sending a lot of emails if I do this. But there we have it. Just walk through it for you guys. Okay, so we're 30 minutes in, and we have covered automating your prospecting. We have also covered 5 filters you can use, at least 5 filters you can use to find better leads. But we're not done. We're not done yet. I'm going to show you something else. Okay, so I'm going to come back into home. Now this, Zir, did you run the poll on the, how to automate? Okay, we ran the poll. Cool. I'm checking in. John, we'll send you the recording. Don't worry about it. You'll see it. Share it with your friends. Okay, so there's something that happens more often when you come into a new role at an existing sales team or existing organization. What's going to happen, this has happened to me, so maybe it's happened to you. Come into a role and I've got a CRM already. I've got, let's say, 100,000 contacts in my CRM, and the company is established. And there's always a question, you know, if you're a sales leader, you're always playing this game where you're asked to commit to a number and you have some incomplete data, right? Because you may be asked to commit to 10% quarter over quarter growth. Let's say you're at an aggressive company. Now, that may be possible and it may not be possible. And one of the determining factors in whether or not that's possible is the penetration that you have in your market, right? And if you don't know your total addressable market, and if you don't know how many people from that market, that total addressable market, are in your CRM, you're kind of out of luck, right? You're guessing. And the last place you want to be as a sales leader is committing to a number that you're guessing on. You don't want to be there. And I'm going to show you how you can not be there. Mark, screen size and my speed makes it frustrating. Hard to see the screen. I could try and zoom in. I'm sorry, y'all. It's hard for me to keep up with the chat. Okay, so I'll zoom in a little bit. My screen is big though. So what I'm showing you guys, this is brand new. You come to home and you go to Data Health Center. Now this is in beta. What the Data Health Center is this is a way for you, once you've connected your CRM, to compare the data in your CRM to the total market available in Apollo. And that's going to help you answer that question, which is, how many of our perfect leads are even in our CRM? What is our ability to penetrate further into the market? So I'm going to come in here and select personas, and I can choose, multiple personas from here. So let's say I wanted to do that. I'm going to choose 4 personas. What Apollo is going to do is it's going to show me what percentage of those people are in my CRM versus what's available in the market overall. So let's say for owners, if in this example, I had 9,381 in my CRM, but there are 2 million available in Apollo. Now I know that there's an enormous greenfield opportunity here and that I'm not limited. I haven't penetrated that market all the way, right? That I can go and I can commit to that big number. The same thing for marketing leaders. You can see it. I've got 16,000 records. Apollo has 602,000. This is really hard to find. This is really hard to find if in anywhere else. Like total addressable market, companies spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars hiring a firm to do research to find this. Apollo gives it to you out of the box. This is in beta. So I'm going to pause. Zir is going to run a poll right now. And if you guys want access to Data Health Center where you can find your TAM, say yes in the poll. We'll get you added to the beta. Okay, don't say yes in the chat. There's a poll, so click the poll button down at the bottom. Okay, that's more or less taken us through what I had for you in the Apollo platform. Now, I'm ahead of schedule, so maybe I went too fast. I apologize. We can go back for things. We're at this point where we're at a Q&A. Now, some of the things that I've showed you today are only available if you're paying for Apollo, if you have a professional or a custom plan. Some of those things are the buying intent data, job change filters, automatically adding people into sequences of plays. So we're going to run a poll right now. And that poll is going to ask you if you want a personalized demo of anything that we covered. So if you felt like I went too fast, if my screen was too big, if you just hate the sound of my voice or the way my face looks, which I can't blame you, request a demo. You're going to get somebody else. You won't even have to deal with me. And we will get in touch with you as soon as possible. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go, I'm going to look into the questions tab. We only have 113 questions, and I'll see what I can answer here. Zira, can we get that poll going for the demo? Let's make sure that's happening. Okay, I'm going to try and go through some of these. How are you getting the buying intent data? Okay, so we have a provider. This is for Hampus. Hampus, we have a provider called LeadSift. We're ingesting the data from them. How they get it, I don't know, black magic. No, what they're doing actually, okay, so I hope I don't take us too far astray. What's actually happening here is there is a network. There are multiple networks. There are multiple networks of companies that basically share data on, you know, when you go to a website and it says like, hey, accept cookies, there are networks of people who use certain cookies out of the box. Okay, they buy this technology, and you can have a network of companies who all use the same kind of tracking technology, and that gets anonymized and hashed, or that gets sort of like, you're not tracking on an individual level necessarily, but to the organization level based on your IP address, your domain, or your location. That's how this stuff is being tracked. So if you go visit, you know, 10 websites, all for CRM software, for example, and they're all tracking cookies, somebody somewhere knows that somebody from your company is looking for CRMs. That's what that is. Okay. This is from Daniel Lucas. If your contacts are already in a different sequence and your play sends contacts to another sequence, want to make sure the contacts don't end up in two sequences. Daniel, that's a good point. In the rules engine or in the plays library, you can, and I think out of the box Apollo does this, you can set that up where you can't be active in two sequences at once. So you won't double tap somebody. You won't hit them twice. If you want somebody to show you how to do that, hit the yes, request a demo. Could we run through the data health center again? Luke, stay on. If we have time as I go through these questions, I'll run through it again. No problem at all. How do I set the criteria for addressable market into data health beta? Okay, Billy. So this is not, the total addressable market is, man, we've had 2 questions in a row. Let's just go back. Okay, so what this is personas. So you remember at the top of the hour, I showed you if you come in here and you go to persona and go to manage personas, you get to define who your personas are. So I can come in here and I can create a persona. So, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm selling to general contractors or owners of general contracting companies. Whatever my persona is, you define it in this personas view. And so once you've done that and you've saved your persona, that's when you come back over here to home and you go to Data Health Center and you can choose the personas you've set up in Apollo. The other way to do this is account segments. So you can actually create segments of accounts. I believe you do that through companies. You may also be able to do this through your CRM. So I think that's the value of Data Health Center is it's really, you want to be comparing your CRM to Apollo. You want to connect your CRM to Apollo, and then you're going to compare your data to our data. Okay. Your current plan only allows you to run a rule on saved contacts. Is that only for custom plans? Paul, request a demo, my friend. We will hook you up. Yes. Okay. What mic am I using? Well, thanks, A-Team. Glad you like the quality. This is a Rode A1 microphone. I like hold it up for you. Great value for performance. Okay. Can we discuss the effectiveness of personal email versus commercial email? All right, Tim. This is for Tim Davis. I am going off the beaten path here. This is anything I'm about to say is my own opinion and does not reflect Apollo. Get that disclaimer out of the way. Look, I get a lot of outbound emails. Okay, I get people trying to sell to me all the time. Don't hit me up on my personal email. If you want to do business with me based on where I work, hit my commercial email, hit my work email. If you can't find my work email, get Apollo. If you hit me up on my personal email for something personal, great. If you're trying to sell me for my work through my personal, it's just for me personally. I've never seen that work well. You're gonna get a lot of replies, but a lot of those replies are gonna be negative. You're gonna burn the lead. I wouldn't recommend it. It's just not worth it. And you don't need to do it because you can just call their cell phone number. Like for whatever reason, this is like a weird, I don't know why it's this way. It's okay to call somebody's phone. It's to me less okay to send their personalized email. And you have so many opportunities available to you to get in touch with people: LinkedIn, email, phone, get creative, direct mail, whatever you want to do. I'd stay away from it. Nazim runs campaigns for multiple clients. One sells CBD oil, but we only have categories for buying intent, such as beauty and cosmetics. How can I find people that specifically want CBD oil? Nazim, that's a great question. I don't have a good answer for you. I can recommend that you request a demo though, if you haven't already. Okay, are you able to do the play automation, but have it auto-populate a list in Apollo? Yes, you can do that. Wow, Radu, you're so fast. You already got there for me, before me. Okay. Only under what function do I find the play function from the dashboard? I'm going to show you again. It's hidden. So you go here, go to settings, come down here, plays. And then that's where you find it. If you don't see this, it's because you don't have the right plan. Say yes to the poll, request a demo, we'll hook you up. Okay, tip for next time. Love to invite my SDRs to the next webinar. They're all non-native English speakers. Can we speak slower? Yes, we'll work on that. Beth, my apologies. All right, I'm gonna go through 5 or 6 more questions, and then I may let Radu or Zir pop in. And if you guys, if there's anything I didn't answer that you think would be helpful for the team or for the population of viewers, please let me know. Could I elaborate from Dylan? Could I elaborate on the keyword search and how to best use it for the companies section? Okay. So I'm going to come into companies. You see, things that are particular to individuals are not available here. More filters is so much easier. Okay, keywords. My understanding, and I could be wrong, I'm going to show you guys how to learn more about this. Well, first thing I'd say is if you have a question about something Apollo, we have an incredible knowledge base. And you just search Apollo knowledge base, it's knowledge of Apollo, and you can actually search keywords, and I'm sure this will pop up here. Oh, I hope it pops up here. You can search for basically anything. This is a really helpful way. Company info filters, bam, there you have it. This is a really helpful way for you to find exactly how these things work, the logic behind them. I'd recommend that you do that, Dylan. So I'll point you to the knowledge base. Basically what it's looking for, it's pulling data from a bunch of different places, their website, their LinkedIn, whatever they have, keywords that are in their company description, we're gonna pull you in there. Okay, who's the provider we get buying a tip from? We already did that. How do you get emails? Jude, great question. I think there are a variety of ways we get emails, but one of the ways we get emails, Apollo, is when you connect to Apollo, you share essentially the emails that for the people that you have, they share to the network, and you benefit from everybody else who is an Apollo user knowing who they're emailing, or rather the verified emails that they're communicating with as well. If you want more information about that, visit our site. There's a lot of different ways to get emails. One thing I'd say about Apollo, GDPR compliant. We're one of, if not the most ethical data provider that you will find. So you can feel good about the quality of the data that you're getting. How do I get buying intent? Vinay, you need a custom plan. Request a demo. We will hook it up. Apollo is making, this is from Pavan. Apollo is making my work too easy. But one thing that I found many times is that mail ID is verified, but unable to deliver mail to that ID. Okay, so Pavan, I think the filter that you want there is the date updated in Apollo. Because what happens, and a lot of the time when you get a bounce notification, it's because somebody has changed jobs. And, the half-life of a job, depending on where they work and what industry they're in, can be as little as 6 to 9 months. So your best bet there is that. The other thing is something we didn't cover today is job change alerts. That is only available for a custom plan, I believe, or maybe a professional plan. Job change alerts, I would really recommend you request a demo here. There's some finesse to using that. Basically, if you have people in your CRM, you try and hit them up, but they change jobs, you have to go through a bit of a process to update that. So recommend you request a demo from it. Okay, I'm gonna take 2 more and then I'll let you guys, I'll let you all go. If you have something you're desperate for, throw it in now. What's my take on cold calling versus LinkedIn outreach to book meetings? Okay, Leo, this is for you. Let's look at it from 2 ways. First way, LinkedIn is gonna put a limit on you to the number of times you can reach out to somebody in a given day or a given week. So in-mails is one way, right? But LinkedIn makes money. You buy credits for in-mail. The other way is connection requests, and I think the limit is 50 a day on connection requests. There's no limit on cold calls, right? So for me, I would recommend call people. It's harder. It's way more effective than LinkedIn. The way that I view LinkedIn, and if you guys haven't, go to the Apollo blog. We just dropped something that you're going to find, I found it incredible. There's somebody out there, his name is Alex Boyd. If you can find the blog, go to resources, go to blog, right here. Alex Boyd, every time he posts on LinkedIn, he makes $13,000. He calls his method social selling. We dive into it right here. You can learn more from Alex directly, and you can learn more from this piece on how to do it. LinkedIn, The move is not to be cold emailing people via LinkedIn. That platform for something else. I would recommend you cold call. Okay. Kathy, is it permanent headcount? Yeah, I would say headcount growth. One of the big ways that we look at headcount growth is not the only way, but one of the ways that we look is based on the number of people who say that they work at that company across social. So if they're a contractor, but they don't say anywhere on the internet that they work there, it's hard for us to know. All right. Are there any filters to find mutual LinkedIn connections? Brandon, I'm actually not sure. That may be coming. Check out that blog post I mentioned, though. Alex has a couple ways of doing this that I'd really recommend you check. Okay. Lastly, does Apollo offer one-on-one platform training? This is for James. Yes. Request a demo. We will hook you up. We'll get your team hooked up for custom plan, professional plan. We can set you guys up with knowledge base. We can set you up with a demo. We can set you up with what you need to know. All right, y'all. We're at 45 minutes. I hope this webinar was valuable for you. I'd love, maybe we can wrap this up in the chat. Let me know what you think. Is there anything that I could have done better, could have done differently? Ben, how do you automate? You said, how do I automate prospecting? Ben, we got into it. So we didn't stop. Basically what I did here is I went into that rules, right? Going to plays, and I created a play. And what my play did was it automatically added people who met my filters to a sequence. That's prospecting, and it automated it for you. It's not, now you can build a sequence that's all automated emails. I wouldn't recommend you do that. Then it's fully automated. But what I would do, I would automate the finding of leads and the adding to a sequence. And then you want to do the cold calling, email personalization, customization from there. Okay, you guys who stayed, maybe this is selection bias. You're saying a lot of nice things. So we're going to go out on top. If you all are hungry for more content like this, let us know. Sign up for the next webinar. We work hard to make sure these are available for you. We love you. We appreciate you. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.